Okay, so it appears that the guys at Blizzard Entertainment should probably start quaking in their boots right now for their title Diablo 4. With Path of Exile 2 on the horizon, I guarantee if you step into their office and look at their calendar right now, December 6th is going to be known as D-Day. Yeah, we're in early access time period in the next couple of weeks, and we've got a lot to go over as Diablo may well be facing its biggest challenge yet. And no, we're not talking about Lilith. So at this point, if you haven't already, smash that like button, subscribe, post notifications turned on, as we are going to be covering over all of the news happening inside of Path of Exile 2 going forward, and hopefully this will be a glorious time as the game flourishes into the next realm of ARPGs coming at 2024. But starting off, we have the obvious question. Will this obviously affect Diablo 4? In my personal eyes, which obviously is nothing factual, yes, 100%. If anything, I expect this to really obliterate Diablo 4. Now, obviously, the way that this game operates is of a little bit more of a complexity, so for those more simple-minded, Diablo 4 may well be the better option. But as an overall, for a free-to-play game, yep, you heard me right, a free-to-play game going up against Diablo 4 that currently has a price bracket title of £41.99 over on Steam, and currently on a Black Friday sale of only £25. There's a shock timing. It seems like they're going to have their hands full with a game that genuinely didn't really do that well. It had a dedicated audience, as Diablo is a pretty renowned name within inside the franchise. It'll always have that solid player base. When we start looking at Path of Exile 2, I think this game is going to attract more than just the franchise's fans. Now let's just take this down a imagery standpoint straight off the bat. Here's a side-by-side of Diablo on the right and Path of Exile on the left, and you guys can see a clear difference on where it is that these games are. Now bear in mind that PoE 2 is going to be free and Diablo 4 is not free by any stretch of the imagination and has been out for quite a while now. This already is going to sway a lot of players just on that alone. Now this is going to be a cross-gen, cross-platform, cross-everything, so yes, you can save it on your PlayStation and go and play it on your PC if you so wish. It's going to be that easy. And that's just looking at it from outside the box. We haven't even talked about the details on the inside of this thing just yet. Now, obviously, the main root cause of Diablo 4 was pretty much a standard. It was a pretty simple ARPG with an ending that really ended in just pretty much killing Lilith. Obviously, the end game content revolved around quite a lot more as the game moved forward, but essentially, you rolled into a season with a brand new restarted character. You got through that season in maybe a couple of weeks if you stretched it out big time, potentially a month, ran out of content at the end of that month and maybe moved on to your next game. This game, on the other hand, is going to have a much bigger output scale. Not only in the early access are we looking at around 50 bosses at launch and around 400 different enemy types, we're also at the overpoint of around 7 to 8 endgame activities that are going to be available just in the early access alone. As our full launch comes into play though, we are going to be looking at a much bigger scale. When full launch actually comes through, we are looking at around 100 different bosses. That is an unimaginable number for a free-to-play title. I don't understand how they've actually managed to keep this free to play. It's beyond me. Now, inside of the game itself, the storyline for Diablo was pretty damn boring, and for me personally, that was a personal experience. A lot of other people may well tell you differently, and they may well have enjoyed it, and fair play to you. But the Path of Exile 2 is looking to stretch out to quite a bit more. During the early access time period, we're looking at 3 acts and then straight into the end game, which for me personally probably wasn't the worst thing to happen, but during the full launch of things, we'll receive 3 more acts, taking us in a total of 6 acts for the main storyline, and then into the end game with over 100 unique environments. This is insane. Oh, and there'll be around 600 monsters to smash up and stomp by the end of that time period, which is absolutely a no-brainer. Now, for those people who are pretty much veterans in the Path of Exile realm, they will tell you that the acts and the storyline are pretty much the tutorial, and the game doesn't really kick in until we hit the end game passages, because that's when the stuff really starts to ramp up. a skill tree of passives and so much more that they have essentially quadrupled since what we saw in the original Path of Exile. It seems to me that Diablo is probably going to have a few struggles at this point. Now, don't get me twisted. At the point of just no new season launching, we seem to see Diablo fall to all new lows of around 10,000 concurrent players on Steam alone, which is pretty low as it goes anyway, but for a standard player base, it's not overly that bad. This game of PoE 2 is looking to excite heights of all new levels, especially with people like Asmongold, who are currently promoting out the game as probably one of the more exciting games that they've been looking at over the last 5 years, which is an insane statement to really get into. This guy is literally looking to be supported from every direction to play this game. It looks crazy. And we don't even stop there. When we start looking at things such as the combat, it gets ramped up even harder. Diablo 4's combat mechanics are pretty damn simple, especially with their boss mechanics. It generally tends to work on quite a standard procedure. The mechanics of the bosses are really easy to read, but you being able to combine up your skills and utilize your attacks again aren't that difficult. I am by no means a build crafter, not at all. I am not the technical guy. I just love to keep up to date with the news on things, which is, well, why you're here. But if I can figure out a build inside of Diablo 4 without much real help, then it seems to be one of those games that is a lot easier for the average consumer, which apparently from Diablo 3 to Diablo 4 was one of the main targets that they were trying to get to. And even with that, one ability was literally one ability. The thing that we're seeing within Path of Exile 2 is what's called combination attacking. Now, this is insane because of how this genuinely operates. There are certain classes that can do obviously certain things. If we take the monk, for example, he has some insane abilities, and one ability of which is my favorite is the fact that he can knock down a bell, and then every time he hits the bell, it sends off a shockwave that will do damage around in a circular movement. Now, not only that, but you can hit a combination attack, and you are able to utilize a freeze attack when you do it, or an electric attack when you do it, and pulsate an ice wave or an electric wave. That is a pure combination gone through intact. Not only that, but there are other things as well, such as weaponry, grenade launchers, and so much more, which still baffles my brain a little bit now based on the time period this game is set in. But you are able to drop things such as gas grenades and then set fire to those gas grenades to leave a giant explosion to kill everything. The combination that is sat inside of Path of Exile, especially with its combat, is probably one of the biggest things that is drawing me in right now. Don't get me twisted, this game is so damn pretty and it's really, really nice to look at, but after playing Diablo 4, and I have sunk some damn hours into Diablo 4, it's kind of left me on that little stale parting. I came away from Diablo 4 and moved into other games, which is, well, how this channel actually got to Helldivers. But Path of Exile 2, I think, is going to put a massive stem in for the works. I don't think we're going to see an ARPG like this for quite some time, and to say that it's free to play, likelihood is the servers are going to go live on launch day December 6th for the early access. It's probably not going to be easily accessible on December 6th, and you may find that for even a part of December 7th, you may well struggle to get in, because this game is going to be absolutely obliterated with millions of people wanting to get into it. Path of Exile is one of the biggest franchise names in ARPGs, and I think that this thing could really break the internet. I'm excited to see what they can do. Diablo probably is not as excited as what I am. If anything, I think that they're probably a lot more worried than what they may well be making out to be, with things such as Black Friday sales, or just sales overall that are ranged at the same price as the early access time period, because you can pay around £25 for the early access into that. But if you are originally a PoE veteran and played through PoE in the original game and has spent something like, I think it was $400 to $500, then you got a free to play early access code as well as a thank you parting gift from the original game. Apparently there's a bit of controversy around that at the moment. People haven't received their codes for the free ones just yet. No idea as to why, but again, I'm not a PoE veteran. I am going to be diving into PoE 2 though, and putting in a lot of time and effort into this, so we've already got our pre-order purchased. And if you're at this point in the video, screw it, we'll give one of them away as well. If you guys want to get involved with it, and just put a set of eyes in the comment section below, I'll know that you've stemmed right through to the back end of the video and genuinely are here for the content we're putting out. We'll give one away, screw it. But this game has got a lot coming in tow, and I think this is going to be one to watch out for, and one that is probably going to blow up on the internet more than you may well believe. Let me know in the comment section what you guys believe, and if you are rooting for Diablo 4, or if PoE 2 is going to destroy your life like a really bad ex. yeah, we've all been there. But that's all we've got time for today. Thank you so much again for watching, guys, and make sure you stay tuned to the channel. We'll be covering more PoE 2 action, news, and so much more in the development as it moves towards the early access December 6th. Thanks again for watching. Appreciate you all, and as always, I'll see your beautiful faces in the clouds.